Joe Martin, the quiet craftsman who became the face of Iron Resurrection, has always been seen as different from the flashier car TV personalities. He wasn't the loudest, he wasn't the most dramatic. He was the builder, the artist in the background who let the metalwork speak for itself. But now, the headlines surrounding Joe tell a story fans never expected. After years of being the steady hand of Martin Bros Customs, whispers of controversy are beginning to surface, and they're raising questions about whether the very success that put Joe on the map is now threatening to pull him down. It starts with the shop. Martin Bros Customs, once celebrated as a tight-knit team of loyal builders, has shown signs of strain. Employees have quietly departed, deadlines have grown more demanding, and behind the scenes, frustrations about credit, leadership, and long hours have begun to circulate. For a perfectionist like Joe, who insists every build must meet his uncompromising standards, that tension is both a product of his passion and a source of friction. But the controversy doesn't stop at the shop doors. Fans have noticed changes in Joe's public appearances with his wife, Amanda Martin, the partner who has long managed the business side of their empire. Once always smiling and upbeat, she now appears quieter, more guarded. It has sparked speculation about whether the relentless pace of television, the pressure of fame, and the demands of keeping the shop alive are bleeding into their marriage. The result is a storm of rumors, speculation, and concern. Joe Martin, the man who seemed untouchable, who turned scraps into masterpieces, now finds himself at the center of questions about leadership, relationships, and the price of perfection. And by the end of this story, fans will discover the shocking decision Joe is rumored to be facing, one that could change his career and his personal life forever. Before Iron Resurrection made him a household name in custom car culture, Joe Martin was simply a Texas kid with a dream and a knack for working with his hands. He wasn't born into wealth or fame. His journey started in small garages and long nights spent learning the language of metal. From a young age, he was drawn to machines, not just for the thrill of horsepower, but for the artistry of restoration. Unlike many builders chasing flash, Joe wanted to build pieces that lasted, that carried soul. In the 1990s and early 2000s, Joe slowly built a reputation around Austin and the surrounding areas for his meticulous style. He didn't just restore, he reimagined. Rusty frames and forgotten classics would leave his shop reborn with clean lines and custom touches that blended old-school craftsmanship with modern design. Local gearheads began to recognize the Martin brothers' name, and word spread that this was a builder who refused shortcuts. The leap to television wasn't something Joe planned. When Iron Resurrection premiered in 2016 on Velocity, later Motor Trend, the world got a glimpse of the quiet perfectionist who had been grinding for years. Suddenly, Joe was more than a local legend. He was a star. With Amanda handling business and finances, his brother Jason and best friend Jason Shag Arrington at his side, Joe's small operation became a national brand. But fame came with pressure. Fans expected not just great builds, but drama-free perfection. And while Joe thrived under the cameras, his humility and obsession with detail meant the spotlight brought as much stress as it did success. Joe Martin's rise wasn't smooth. Long before the cameras arrived, Martin Bros Customs faced challenges that nearly destroyed the dream. Money was always tight. Like many small shops, survival depended on word of mouth, one project at a time, and the occasional customer who believed enough in Joe's talent to pay what his work was worth. There were stretches where bills piled up, where the doors nearly closed, and where Joe wondered if he'd chosen the wrong path. Those struggles shaped his philosophy. Joe became relentless about quality because he couldn't afford failure. If a customer questioned his work, if a project came back with problems, it could mean the end of the shop. That mindset turned into perfectionism, a habit of working long nights to make sure every weld, every seam, every curve was flawless. It's the very trait that would later set him apart on Iron Resurrection. But it came from a place of survival, not luxury. Even when success arrived, the ghosts of those early days didn't leave. Joe still runs the shop as if failure could strike tomorrow. Employees describe his intensity, his refusal to accept good enough, and his demand that every build carry the Martin Bros stamp of excellence. To fans, it's inspiring. To those in the shop, it can sometimes feel suffocating. And now, with the weight of television deadlines and fan expectations layered on top of those old habits, that perfectionism may be turning into the very thing that drives wedges between Joe, his employees, and even those closest to him. On Iron Resurrection, Martin Bros Customs is portrayed as a well-oiled machine. The cameras show camaraderie, teamwork, and the thrill of transformation as forgotten shells become stunning customs. But behind the polished edits is a shop under intense pressure. Television builds don't just require craftsmanship. They require timelines. Cars that would normally take months or years to complete must be finished in weeks. Add the cameras, producers, and narrative arcs, and the stress becomes overwhelming. Joe, already a perfectionist, becomes even more demanding under these conditions. Every flaw is magnified, every mistake amplified. For his employees, it means long hours, endless revisions, and the constant feeling that they're racing against a clock that never stops ticking. The shop environment reflects Joe's personality: meticulous, high standards, unwilling to compromise. Some employees thrive in that culture, pushing themselves to match his pace. Others find it difficult, leading to friction that rarely makes it to air. Over time, the stress has led to turnover, faces quietly disappearing from the show without explanation, fueling fan speculation about what's really happening inside. Amanda, tasked with keeping the financial side afloat, has her own pressures. With budgets, deadlines, and producers demanding more content, her role as both Joe's partner and manager puts her at the intersection of business and family. It's a balance that's become increasingly difficult to maintain. What fans see is beautiful craftsmanship and TV magic. What they don't see is the growing strain, the cracks beginning to form inside Martin Bros Customs, where loyalty, creativity, and exhaustion collide. For years, Iron Resurrection presented Martin Bros Customs as a tight-knit family. But whispers from inside the shop tell a different story. Employees have quietly come and gone, with fans noticing familiar faces disappearing between seasons. On the show, it's framed casually. Life changes, new opportunities. But behind the curtain, there are rumors of creative disagreements, friction over leadership style, and frustration over who gets credit for the builds. Joe's relentless perfectionism is admired by fans, but inside the shop, it can be daunting. Workers describe long nights where projects are torn down and rebuilt multiple times because they didn't meet Joe's standards. Some thrive in that environment, growing as craftsmen. Others burn out, frustrated that their contributions never feel good enough. Over time, that creates an atmosphere of quiet resentment. Favoritism has also been mentioned in hushed tones. Certain employees seem to enjoy more leeway, while others feel like their work is constantly under the microscope. Add the pressure of television cameras and producers pushing for deadlines, and the strain only deepens. When projects are rushed for TV, someone has to carry the blame if things go wrong. and often it falls on the employees. Fans have picked up on these shifts. Online forums question why certain team members left, why others seem less visible, and whether the happy shop dynamic portrayed on TV is real or just edited for entertainment. While no explosive scandals have emerged, the steady trickle of tension is enough to paint a picture. Life inside Martin Burris Customs isn't as harmonious as it appears. And those tensions are beginning to weigh heavily, not just on the team, but on Joe himself. Joe Martin has always poured everything into his work. Long before TV cameras ever rolled, his shop was his life, and perfection was his standard. But the transition from a local builder to national TV star has multiplied the pressure tenfold. Now, every build isn't just for a customer. It's for millions of viewers. Every flaw risks being broadcast. Every mistake immortalized on screen. The result has been an exhausting pace. Joe works long hours, often deep into the night, obsessing over every detail. He carries the weight of the shop's reputation, the expectations of fans, and the demands of network producers. And while his cool demeanor on screen suggests control, those close to him say the stress is undeniable. Physically, the grind is taking a toll. Years of hands-on labor have left him battling aches and fatigue. Mentally, the pressure to maintain his reputation as one of the best in the business leaves little room for rest. And emotionally, the constant need to deliver, while juggling employee tensions and financial realities, has begun to wear him thin. Joe rarely shows vulnerability, but the signs are there. He appears more tired, more guarded in interviews. His once effortless calm now feels strained. And when a leader is stretched to his limits, that tension seeps into everything. Workplace morale, family life, and even the perception of fans who once saw him as unshakable. The man who built his career on perfection now faces the harshest reality of all. Perfection comes at a cost, and Joe is paying it in ways that reach far beyond the shop. Amanda Martin has always been the steady partner at Joe's side, the voice of reason, the financial brain behind Martin Burris Customs, and the supportive presence that helped bring Iron Resurrection to life. To fans, their marriage looked unshakable, a true partnership built on trust, love, and shared passion for the shop. But as the pressure inside Martin Burris has grown, so has the strain on their relationship. Amanda carries more responsibility than most realize. She manages the books, negotiates with networks, and balances the demands of television producers who want bigger builds and tighter timelines. On top of that, she serves as Joe's emotional anchor, absorbing the stress he doesn't show in public. But every anchor has a limit. Fans have begun to notice subtle changes. In earlier seasons, Amanda's presence on screen radiated warmth and confidence. Recently, she has seemed quieter, more reserved, almost weighed down. Viewers speculate whether the stress of running a business under the glare of television has taken a toll not just on her, but on their marriage. The rumors of strain aren't built on gossip alone. Friends say the long hours, the constant filming, and Joe's relentless perfectionism leave little time for balance at home. For Amanda, it often means playing the role of both partner and manager, roles that sometimes collide. Cars brought Joe and Amanda immense success, but they also brought new challenges: scrutiny, stress, and relentless schedules. Now, as the pressures mount, fans are left asking the most personal question of all. Can their marriage survive the weight of a business, a show, and a controversy that refuses to stay hidden? For years, Joe Martin's reputation was one of the purest in the car-building world. Unlike some TV personalities who leaned into ego and spectacle, Joe built his brand on humility, craftsmanship, and authenticity. Fans admired him not for over-the-top antics, but for quiet brilliance. The way he transformed forgotten wrecks into rolling art, the way he stayed calm while others chased drama. To many, Joe was the anti-reality TV star, a true craftsman first and a celebrity second. That's why recent rumors have hit so hard. Whispers of employee turnover, shop tensions, and visible strain in his marriage cut against the very image that made Joe beloved. Online forums and fan groups have started debating, is Joe still the humble builder we admired, or has fame and pressure reshaped him into someone harder, more controlling, less approachable? The truth may be somewhere in between. Running a business on national television is not the same as building quietly in a local garage. Every move is scrutinized, every build judged, every absence of a familiar team member turned into speculation. Even the smallest crack in the facade feels like a collapse when you've been seen as the genuine one. And now, with Amanda appearing quieter on screen and employees rotating in and out, fans are left to wonder, is Joe Martin still in control of the image he worked so hard to create? Or has the perception shifted beyond his ability to repair? Joe Martin isn't the first car TV personality to face this kind of storm. What begins as passion in the shop often becomes pressure under the lights. Fame magnifies every flaw, every disagreement, and every personal crack in the armor. Joe's journey mirrors this larger story. Like those before him, he built his reputation in the garage, not the studio. But television turned him into a brand, and with that brand came deadlines, contracts, sponsors, and millions of fans who expected not just perfection in builds, but perfection in personality. It's a nearly impossible standard. The question now isn't whether Joe is talented. His skills remain unmatched. The real question is whether anyone can balance it all: the builds, the business, the cameras, the employees, the marriage, the pressure. It's a balancing act that has crushed others in the industry, and Joe is standing at the same crossroads. And what makes this moment so significant is the looming decision he faces. Because unlike those before him, Joe may not be content to push forward at any cost. Instead, whispers suggest he's considering something far more dramatic, something that could rewrite his future entirely. And this is where it all comes together. After years of carrying the weight of his shop, his marriage, and the expectations of fans and networks, Joe Martin is facing a decision that could change everything. Sources close to the situation suggest Joe is seriously considering stepping away from television, either scaling back his role on Iron Resurrection, or even walking away altogether. The reason? To protect his health, his sanity, and most importantly, his marriage with Amanda. For fans, the possibility is staggering. Iron Resurrection without Joe Martin feels unthinkable. His eye for detail, his quiet presence, his artistry, that's the foundation of the show. But to those who know him best, the decision makes sense. Joe has always been about the work, not the fame. And now, with tensions rising in the shop and strain at home, fame may no longer be worth the cost. Nothing is official yet, but the whispers are growing louder. Joe is weighing a future where he trades television contracts for peace of mind, where the shop is smaller, the schedule lighter, and the focus returns to what it was in the beginning, building for the love of it. Whether he chooses to step back or fight through, one thing is clear: the controversy has already changed everything. Joe Martin is no longer just the calm craftsman fans thought they knew. He's a man at a crossroads, forced to decide whether to keep living under the crushing weight of fame or to walk away and save the parts of his life that matter most.